Have you ever watched an empire crumble in real time? That's exactly what's happening to Drake. The man once untouchable, now standing on thin, breaking ice. For years, he carried the crown of rap's biggest superstar. The charts bent to his will. Labels moved mountains for him. Even his rivals, no matter how loud, couldn't touch his throne. But in 2025, something shifted. His Iceman image, cold, unbothered, dominant, has started melting. Behind the scenes, insiders whisper about album delays, failed rollouts, and industry schemes designed to bury him. On the surface, the fans see cracks, songs pushed back, projects announced then quietly abandoned. And beneath it all, a deeper betrayal brews. The label that once made him unstoppable might be preparing to cut him loose. But the real question is, why? Why would the most successful rapper of the streaming era suddenly lose his grip? Stay locked in, because by the time we're done, you'll understand how Drake went from Iceman to a man on ice, and why his next move might decide if his career survives or freezes over for good. But first, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. Let's start with the ghost in the room. Iceman White Man. For months, Drake teased this project as his grand return. It was supposed to be the album that reset the culture. The one that silenced his critics. The one that proved he could still dictate the sound of an entire generation. But here's the problem. The album doesn't exist, or at least not in any form that Drake is confident in. Behind the scenes, sources claim he's been recording, scrapping, rewriting, and second-guessing every move. Why? Because the stakes are higher than ever. After losing a public war to Kendrick Lamar, after being exposed by critics for chasing trends, and after being accused of inflating numbers with questionable tactics, Drake knows one wrong step could end his reign permanently. And so, the project keeps getting delayed. The rollout keeps getting pushed back. Even the people closest to him, the ones who usually hype up his work, have gone silent. That's not a good sign. Which begs the question, is Iceman White Man even real? Or is it just smoke and mirrors to keep the fans distracted while Drake scrambles for an actual plan? Drake's relationship with his label has always been complicated. On the one hand, he's their golden goose, the artist who kept the lights on, who turned streaming into a guaranteed payday. On the other hand, he's also become a liability. Think about it. Every delayed release costs money. Every flop single damages credibility. And every public misstep, whether it's beef with Kendrick, awkward collabs, or failed rollouts, makes the label wonder if their investment is still worth it. Rumors suggest executives are frustrated. They wanted a dominant comeback. Instead, they got a paranoid artist hoarding tracks in the vault, terrified of being outshined. Some insiders even whisper that the label is quietly shifting its resources toward younger artists, the ones who actually connect with the culture right now. If that's true, then Drake isn't just fighting rivals in the industry. He's fighting his own team. You'd think Drake's inner circle would be his safe zone. The OVO crew, the producers, the collaborators, his tight-knit team that helped build his empire. But cracks are showing even there. Whispers of leaks, songs mysteriously surfacing online. Producers who once rode with him now shifting their loyalty. Even close allies seem less invested, moving on to other opportunities. And when an artist starts losing their circle, that's when the real trouble begins. Because in hip-hop, loyalty isn't just personal, it's professional. If people stop believing you're the future, they stop betting on you. Could it be that Drake is being sabotaged from the inside? Some fans think so. Some even believe rivals are getting insider access to Drake's unreleased work, feeding the competition with ammo before he can even load his weapon. Whether true or not, the perception is enough. The Iceman's fortress no longer looks secure. Here's the part that stings. The industry itself seems ready to move on. Drake once had the full weight of the machine behind him. Playlists, radio, award shows, collaborations. But lately, the machine looks different. It's working harder for other artists like Kendrick, JID, Pusha T, and even newcomers that fans feel represent authentic hip-hop. Drake, meanwhile, looks like yesterday's algorithm. His songs still chart, but they don't stick. They don't dominate the conversation the way they used to. And in 2025, cultural relevance matters more than numbers. If the label's losing faith, if the industry's losing patience, and if the fans are losing interest, what does Drake really have left? At the heart of it all is fear. Fear of releasing a flop. Fear of being overshadowed by rivals. Fear of losing the status that defined his career. And that fear shows. Instead of bold, confident moves, we see hesitation. Instead of surprise drops and dominance, we see delays and excuses. Instead of innovation, we see imitation. Drake chasing sounds instead of creating them. For a man who built his empire on always being 2 steps ahead, this is dangerous territory. Because once the audience smells fear, they move on to someone fearless. Of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. Kendrick Lamar's grand national tour wasn't just a tour. It was a cultural earthquake that reminded fans what real dominance looks like. Every show, every feature, every visual was a statement that Kendrick owns the narrative. Meanwhile, Pusha T and Clips dropped a record hailed as one of the most authentic hip-hop projects in years, reinforcing everything Drake isn't right now. Even younger artists, like JID, Joey Badass, and others, are carving lanes that feel fresh and fearless, while Drake looks stuck. The more he delays, the more his rivals shine. The Iceman thought he could freeze the game. Instead, he's the one left frozen in place. But let's not forget the fans. Drake's fanbase has always been massive, loyal, and diverse. But even they're starting to fracture. On social media, some beg him to drop the album. Others clown him for delaying. And some openly admit they've moved on to new favorites. And here's the truth about fan loyalty. It's fragile. One generation's obsession can quickly become the next generation's punchline. The same way Drake once replaced icons of the past, new artists are now replacing him in the eyes of young fans. The Iceman may still sell numbers on release day. But will anyone still be talking about the music a week later? At the end of the day, this isn't just about one album. It's about legacy. Drake wanted to be remembered alongside the greats like Michael Jackson, Jay-Z, and Tupac. But the way things are going, his name risks being remembered differently. As the superstar who peaked too soon, relied too heavily on the system, and couldn't survive when the system turned on him. And that's why Iceman White Man matters so much. It's not just an album. It's a test. A final exam to prove whether Drake can still stand at the top, or if he's already fallen beneath the surface. So the Iceman stands on cracking ice, surrounded by rivals, abandoned by allies, doubted by his label, and questioned by his fans. Will he finally drop the project and risk humiliation? Will he delay again, hoping time will save him? Or will he reinvent himself in a way nobody expects? The truth is, the outcome isn't written yet. But one thing's clear. The empire that once seemed untouchable is now in danger of shattering. And maybe that's the real story. Not just the fall of Drake, but the reminder that in hip-hop, no throne is safe, no crown is guaranteed, and even the Iceman can melt. So what do you think? Can Drake still recover? Or is this the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. And as always, stay active.